Let's move into our tips for round 6. We start right at Thursday night. St Kilda versus the Bulldogs. I've gone with a surprising pick. I have picked the Bulldogs. On Friday night, the Crows versus Essendon. I have picked the Crows. Saturday afternoon, I've picked Collingwood over the Power. Saturday evening, I have picked the Giants over Carlton. Game of the round, that one, by the way. Saturday night, I've gone Brisbane over the Cats. Saturday night as well, I have gone Fremantle over West Coast in the Derby. Sunday early game, I have picked the Swans over the Gold Coast. The last game on Sunday, I have gone Hawthorn over North Melbourne in the Battle of the Cellar Dwellers, basically.
So who's going to get their first win?
Who will get their first win? So, let's get into your tips. Who have you gone for this week?
I've went the Bulldogs over the Saints. I've went the Crows over Essendon. Collingwood over Port Adelaide. I went Carlton over the Giants. Brisbane over Geelong. Freo over West Coast. The Swans over the Gold Coast. And Hawthorn over North Melbourne.
Okay, so we've got one different this week. I thought for a minute we were going to tip all the
Yeah, I thought we were too.
Alright, let's start with the first game, St Kilda versus the Western Bulldogs, because I think that'll be a contentious one for a few people. Only reason why, well, two reasons why. One, I think that the Bulldogs can kick a winning score here against St Kilda. I don't think that St Kilda will be able to kick a winning score without Max King. That's just my opinion. I don't think he will play. But the other reason is what I mentioned a little bit earlier in the podcast is Western Bulldogs are such a response team. They're going to come out firing after all the backlash they've received this week. And of course, the flog of the week from the club.
Yeah.
That's the biggest problem they've received so far this week.
Yeah.
But the main reason is the Western Bulldogs are a huge response team. They have been since probably the 2016 Grand Final. So fucking 8 years ago. They have been a massive response team, the Bulldogs. I think that they will dominate through the midfield. They won't pick Bailey Dale as a substitute.
Oh, fuck me.
And they will win this game. I've got them by 10 points. I think it'll be a close game, but that's what I'm leaning for on the Bulldogs game. What are you looking at for the Bulldogs?
Pretty much the same thing. Like they played horribly in that match. And Bontempelli, I don't know what he did.
He did get tagged pretty well by Sam Durham.
Yeah.
But that was not... I don't think that was the main reason. I think he played poorly, and they didn't play him through the midfield enough.
If you watch him in gather round compared to last week, it's two different players.
Yeah.
It was two different players. And I just don't think that if Max King doesn't play, St Kilda can win.
Yeah.
And I think Liam Jones and their backline are playing pretty well at the moment. Buku Kamas, both of them are playing alright.
As long as they look okay, but then they concede 10 or 11 goals.
Yeah.
They conceded, I think, 9 goals in a row against Essendon.
Yeah.
Or 5 goals, sorry. They conceded 5 goals late in the game.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And they didn't kick very well against Essendon either. But, yeah, I do think...
So if Max King doesn't play, Liam Jones and Buku Kamas one of them could have a field day.
Yeah. Just playing backstage in a set role as well.
Yeah.
After that, let's take a look at the Crows versus Essendon. Big game for the Crows because they haven't won a game at home this year, so they haven't been able to make it the fortress it has been since like last year. They do come up against Essendon off a big win against the Bulldogs. I've gone the Crows, 1, because it is at home, and 2, because Essendon, they have not won 2 games in a row this year. They've had a good game, and then they've had a shocker, and they've had a good game, and then a shocker. So they're in line for a shocker. So I just think the Crows, I think Taylor Walker will be able to have a good game against the Bombers. If he doesn't perform, though, I'll give the Bombers a bit of a chance. But at home, I can't go past the Crows here.
Yeah. If you look at the Stephen Rowe, they're back. But that's, I
do love listening to Stephen Rowe when they lose. It always is a bit of funny.
But yeah, they won this week and they're back and they're back to their best. It's like, they beat Carlton. It was still Taylor Walker again. Taylor Walker, they did change a few things up. I've went the Crows because it is at home. Taylor Walker should win the game again, and Rankin and Rochelle get more midfield time. I think will be better for them.
Had a really good year so
Yeah,
far.
so they're starting to get in the groove. The same problem with Essendon again is that the big bustling forward will get them.
Yeah, well, I think that Ben Mackay's actually had a pretty good year, but the other couple I think can get back into form. I think
so if Ben Mackay can actually challenge Taylor Walker and keep him quiet, they've got a good chance of actually winning it.
Yeah.
With their Essendon edge, if that's going to show up again this week.
Yeah.
But like you said, it hasn't shown up 2 weeks in a row all season, so why would you believe it would happen again?
All right, after that, we've got Collingwood versus Port Adelaide. Big game. This is at the MCG. I think it's Port Adelaide's second game of the year at the MCG. I have picked Collingwood basically because it is at home, and I just feel like Collingwood are hitting a bit of more of a groove now. After the bye, I think they'll come back a little bit better as well, a little bit more fresher. I think they'll kind of shake off the cobwebs of the first month and a bit of the season, and I feel like that's gonna. I think the bye was a good time for Collingwood, so that's why I've picked them there.
I don't know about Port Adelaide. Yeah, they beat Freo, but by the skin of their teeth, they beat Freo. I think, yeah, like you said, Collingwood coming back from the bye since then, they've been playing pretty well. At home at the MCG, 70,000 people.
It is Saturday afternoon. Terrible.
Yeah, I don't get how that's been put at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 1:30.
Yeah, both teams finished in the top 4 last year.
Yeah, if Nick Dacos absolutely got off the chain last time they played each other at the MCG.
Yeah.
They've got to do something if they want to have any chance of doing it.
All right, and then the last game, probably game of the round, is Carlton versus the Giants. This is at Marvel Stadium again. I don't know why Carlton are playing at Marvel. I know they have like some contractual agreement that they have to play a couple of games at Marvel a year, but I understand them playing at Marvel when they were terrible. Like, they're not going to fill up the MCG, but they are a good team now. Like, let them play at the MCG and let the Giants play at the MCG as well, so they can learn the ground. This is what annoys me about sometimes about interstate clubs not being able to, like, they don't get to play at the MCG enough. Anyway, the reason why I've gone the Giants is Carlton's injuries, those 3 outs in defense, or those 2 outs in defense. I think that the small forwards of the Giants can dominate here. Adam Sard probably takes the Brent Daniels matchup. I don't think he'd take Toby Green. I don't think he's big enough.
I think he would take Toby Bedford if he was, but
Bedford. Well, I think he takes the Toby Bedford, Brent Daniels role.
Yeah,
but him being out is big because those two obviously had a massive end of the year and having a pretty good start to the year. Mitch McGovern actually probably took the Toby Green role, to be honest. And he probably matches up pretty well on Toby Green. Well, but him being out's another big loss. And that means Jacob Wiedering will have to, he can't really come off of Jesse Hogan at all at any time. And Jesse Hogan did some really good form. So that's why I think that they'll be able to win up the front. And Adam Chera being out of the midfield is pretty big for them as well. Because I think the Giants midfield can stand up. I do think though that Tom Green needs to play a little bit better. The last few weeks he's been a bit off. I know that's it's not on the AFL fantasy front. I'm not talking about that. Although I would like him to score better for AFL fantasy.
I'll tell you why he's fucked up in fantasies. Because he stupidly 2 weeks ago against the Gold Coast he put himself captain. Idiot. In his AFL fantasy team he put him as captain.
I just think that's where it's going to be won. Sam Taylor is a big out for the Giants though. But that is actually true. Sam Taylor is a big out against Carlton. I think this will be one in the midfield, and I think the Giants will win on the midfield battle. Yeah, that's where I'll leave it. But Sam Taylor is a big out. This will be a close game. This will be game of the year. This should be the game I'll live stream as well, by the way. But yeah, what have you gone the Carlton for?
I've went Carlton because of Sam Taylor being out. Because Jack Buckley will go to probably, I think, Curnow.
Yeah, I think Harry Mackay plays up the ground more.
Yeah, I think Harry Mackay will play up the ground, but yes, they lost Chera, but Sam Walsh came back and he looked good. And another week back in, I think him, Cripps, back in the midfield, George Hewitt, he'll probably go to Tom Green.
Yeah,
probably. I wouldn't be with Caniglio out. I think it was obvious he'll go to Tom Green. I think that McGovern and Sard, yes, they're big outs. The fact is that Wiedering will go to Hogan. I think it will work. Being at Marvel and Carlton, they're not going to bottle 2 games, I don't think, at home.
So, guys, that's our tips for this week. Make sure to let us know down below who of you are tipping and if you believe any of our decisions are wrong or right, of course.